Welcome to Inner Niña Podcast, embracing your inner child while leading with strength. This is a space for Latina women and beyond who are ready to break generational cycles and lead from a place of wholeness. Together, we will reconnect with the little girl inside, the one who dreamed big, felt deeply, and longed to be seen, and honor her as we step in fully into our power. Join me, Maria Benitez, for heartfelt reflections and empowering conversations about identity, healing, culture, and leadership. Each episode invites you to embrace your inner niña while leading with authenticity, compassion, and courage. Welcome back to Inner Niña. Today we welcome a very special guest. Her name is Leolis Rodriguez. She's a first-generation Latina, a native of the Dominican Republic, the oldest sibling of two, a sergeant of the U.S. Army Reserve, and one of the first founding members of the board of directors for the first collegiate MANA chapter at East Stroudsburg University of Pennsylvania. In case you don't know who MANA is a national Latina nonprofit organization that empowers Latinas through leadership development, community service, mentorship, and advocacy. Leolis has already accomplished so much at a young age, and she is just beginning. It is a great pleasure to have her here today as our guest. Welcome, my beautiful Leolis. Thank you for joining us today and supporting our Inner Niña journey. How are you today, mi amor?
Doing awesome. A little bit chilly here on the East Coast, but I'm doing good. How about you, Mommy Maria?
I am doing good. It's not cold here in California. It's always like we've had a little bit of rain in the last couple of days, and so rain is good and always welcome. But other than that, all is good. In case you're wondering how Leolis and I met, I was fortunate to meet this incredible young lady at the annual Hermana conference with MANA, which was held in San Antonio, Texas about 3 years ago. Leolis was part of the executive board of directors for the collegiate MANA chapter at East Stroudsburg University of Pennsylvania. This is the latest MANA chapter, and she was one of the founding members. I still remember the moment Leolis, along with the other board members, shared their stories. It was during an introduction workshop for all the board chapters, and once they got to their table, each board member shared their stories, and it was so impactful that it left many of us in tears. I know for sure I was in tears. Their stories of challenge and discrimination just for being Latina and women of color really impacted me. I became their MANA mother immediately. After they finished talking, I went up and hugged them, and I was so touched. And after that, we were inseparable through that conference, and we've been able to establish a mother-daughter-like relationship since then. I adopted them that moment on. I will always be grateful to Leolis, Richie, and Sierra for coming out to see me in New York 2 years ago when they found that I was in town for my brother's funeral. They found a way to cheer me up and keep me company during a tough time. I will always be grateful for the fact that they took time out of their busy schedule to keep me company through one of my toughest and emotional moments, losing my brother. They took a 3-hour trip from their university, they were in school at that time, to keep me company. They met me in New York City to spend a day with me to cheer me up. When I picked them up at the train station, they greeted me with flowers, and they kept me company just so I wouldn't be alone. And during that day in the city, Leolis took charge. She was the mama bear during the whole trip, which was great for me because I was in no mindset to do any thinking or planning. And it was great to see her take charge. And she was like, we're going to go this way. We're going to go that way. I was enjoying that day. I had lots of love. They shared lots of laughs with me. And it was the perfect medicine that I needed during that tough day for me. So I will always be grateful. Since that day and through the very first day that I met her, we've been able to stay in touch. And we stay connected, spending time with each other. And as they know, that my house is their house. Again, thank you for joining us today, mi amor. Tell us more about your journey, your background, and your family dynamic.
Of course, more than happy to. I moved from the Dominican Republic to the United States when I was 14 years old. And honestly, it was the hardest experience I've had so far in my life. I had to figure out who I was in a completely new place with a new language, new schools, and a whole different culture. I faced bullying because of my English, even from my own cousins who lived here. And that made it even harder to adjust to learn the language as I felt more isolated and insecure. We came to the US for a better future, just as most immigrants do. I understand that now, but back then I didn't. At 14, I was leaving behind my friends, my home, and the life I knew. I didn't fully understand why we were starting all over again. I was angry, confused, and just missing home. And I think it was harder because I was a teenager. With teenagers, we tend to be more stubborn. I think that's the correct word. Because I had already envisioned my future self over there. I was so close to reaching my dream of playing soccer for the Dominican Republic's national team. And when we moved to the US, that dream felt out of reach. Adapting was hard, it was tough, it was humbling, but we learned how to survive, dealing with financial struggles and the language barrier, the hardest of all. I've learned that from every experience, there's something to grow from. I've learned resilience, adaptability, and how to navigate challenges I never thought I could handle. Even now, I still feel that longing for my home country, the Dominican Republic. I have the dream of going back to my country and restarting over there and getting back what I left behind.
Tell us more about the emotional side of immigration. I know that we've talked about, challenge that you encounter coming to this country at the age of 14, leaving everything you know and loved back in your hometown. Tell us a little bit more about that emotional side.
On the emotional side, this whole process came with so much pressure. Like being a Latina, woman of color, a minority, first generation student, and a first daughter. I'm the oldest. I have a cute little brother. All of that, all at once. And I always felt like I had to be the best at everything. I felt like I had to overachieve just to be seen and respected. That mindset pushed me to accomplish a lot, but it also led to burnout and self doubt. Even after graduating early from high school, completing college with two majors and a minor, joining the US Army, a lot more big achievements. Didn't always feel proud of myself. I'm learning how to genuinely celebrate myself and my wins. I'm still a work in progress, but I'm getting there one step at a time. I think a lot of the pressure I felt came from not just from society, being a woman, a Latina, and all of that, not just from that, but I think it also came from wanting my mom's approval and praise. Growing up, I wanted her to be proud of everything I did. And that drove me to overachieve. Now I am learning to do things for myself, not for anyone else. And I think, I'm not sure, I think that's how I'll finally be able to fully feel proud of what I've accomplished.
Well, I want to touch a little bit about that because everybody that knows you is proud of you. I am not your biological mother, but I am another mother to you. And one thing I can honestly say, we in our culture, we also want our mother's approval. And during the time, and so she mentioned she is actually a sergeant at the U.S. Army Reservist, U.S. Reserve. And while she was on when she first entered the Army, she was not able to communicate. So she sent me a letter letting me know she was joining and she was not going to be able to communicate with me because they took away her phone. There was no communication. So I was like, oh, wow. So I was like a little bummed. But I had her mom's contact, and her mom and I communicated during that time, and she was out there, and she was really nice to send me pictures of her, giving me updates, and sharing with me how proud she was of her daughter and how afraid she was of her being there, right? Because as a mother, we're very protective, and she shared some emotional message with me, and I got to know your mom very close. She's a sweetheart lady, just sweetheart. And I know how proud she was of you. And I know how much, she worried. And She may not be able to tell you the way because that's something sometimes we forget to do, but I could tell you, and I do have the text, and I told you I can show them to you. The emotional text her and I shared, even when her graduation from the military, when she was going over there, we communicated. So she's beyond proud, as I am of you. So, you know, just want you to know that. Tell us about how it has been growing up in the culture and family while navigating all that you've been going through at first generation.
As a first generation student, navigating the educational system was the hardest of all, especially financial aid. I had to learn how to navigate the grants, the aid, the scholarships, FAFSA. Like, what is that? And navigate that mostly on my own. There was very little guidance, and a lot of it was trial and error, asking around, researching, and figuring things out as I went. By the time I truly understood how the system worked and how to take advantage of the resources that are available, it was already too late since I had accumulated a significant amount of student loans. That financial pressure played a major role in my decision to join the US Army. Even it wasn't just about paying off my student loans that I had already accumulated, but also about having some more support for grad school. And a big part of that decision of joining the US Army came from wanting to protect my mom from the financial burden of my education. I never wanted her to feel responsible for something she had already sacrificed so much for. Although my mom was more than willing to help me, don't get me wrong, I never asked her for money. I worked while studying, and that's how I was able to support myself. Even though I wanted to continue playing college soccer and see if I could reach that dream of playing professionally. I had to balance my responsibilities and make tough choices. It wasn't easy, but it taught me a lot of discipline, and learning how to prioritize what was most important at the time, which was my education.
Thank you for that. So I know you shared that you graduated with a major and two minors, and you also joined the military, and you're now pursuing your master's degree. Tell us a little bit about that. What are your focus on for the next degree? Where do you plan to go, and how's that going?
Yep. Right now, I am in the process of submitting the applications. I have already submitted two. I need to submit the other two before February. Interviews will be in mid-February, and I get decisions back in April. My master's would be in genetic counseling, and I chose this as my career goal because ever since I can remember, I've been captivated by how the human body works. I always wanted to be in the medical field. And when I came to college, I was introduced to this career in genetics class, and I looked into it and I was like, oh, I like it. I love it. And not only because of the science part of it, but because of the psychology part of it, the counseling. Because I really consider myself a very empathetic person, a crybaby. And at first, I thought that being so touched by the smallest things was a weakness because who wants to see people cry? I first thought that was a weakness. Like, how can I provide a service if I'm so sensitive? But after reflecting on it, that being empathetic to that level makes me a stronger candidate for the profession as I'm able to connect more with the patients. I'm able to put myself in their shoes and look through their eyes like what's the support they really need. And yeah, hopefully, God willing, si Dios quiere, I'll be starting grad school in August of 2026.
I'm looking forward to it. So you talk about empathetic. I think that's your superpower. You have a big heart and it shows, and it's okay that you have that because you nurture everybody around you. and that's literally your gift. So one thing that Chidi hasn't mentioned here yet is as we met in the nonprofit organization, that its mission is to empower Latinas through advocacy, development, and mentorship. She does a lot of other volunteer work. She also did a volunteer work in Guatemala. It's a little bit about that journey, that experience. What did you learn? How did that go?
Yeah, of course. It was an awesome trip. The school, one of my friends said their school is doing this trip, this volunteer trip. I'm like, sure, why not? Let's do it. And it was an awesome experience. It was a service learning experience, so both like learning and volunteering. We went to Antigua, Guatemala, to this hospital that ran of my English, oh my God, runs of volunteers. Like everybody there was a volunteer, the surgeons, the doctors. And this is the reason why the hospital was either provided either free services or low cost services. While being there, we volunteered helping the nurses as they had a large amount of people and not so many providers. We volunteered to the nurses and the post-operation units. We also did a nutritional study there in the patients with the patients, which was the learning side of the trip. We volunteered at a home with people who had cerebral palsy, which was, I think, the moment that marked me the most since I met this young man. He could not move his body, but his mind was brilliant. He shared a lot of his stories, and it was so touching. I left. I was trying not to cry at the moment because, like I said, how are you gonna cry if like you're supposed to be support for the other person? Yeah, I felt so inspired by him. Like, even though he's so limited physically, his mind was still just so brilliant. And aside from that, we also did cultural exposures to Guatemala, and I was so humbled by their way of living. And I thought it wasn't gonna make an impact on me since I come from humbled beginnings. I come from low financial stability, but still it was just so humbling. Every time you travel, you expand your horizons, you learn something new, you expand your own thinking. Like you see so much. And that's why I like traveling a lot because you always take something with you, and even better if it's not something material.
Absolutely. I love traveling. So I'm hoping that, next year we can make a trip to DR. You can show me your neighborhood. So I do agree that traveling opens your mind. It's a learning opportunity. So thank you for that. So what are you working on right now? I know that you have a nurturing gift. So what kind of work do you do and why do you do that?
At the moment, I'm working as a behavioral health technician. I genuinely love what I do. Working with kids with autism brings me so much joy. Being able to witness and support my little kiddos as they reach even the smallest milestone is incredibly rewarding since, like, I'm there with them since maybe day one, the first day of therapy. And directly, and this reminds me of why I chose this path. This work directly aligns with my long term career goal of becoming a genetic counselor. Right now, like I said, I'm in the process of submitting my applications, and I'm also strengthening my resume by volunteering as a crisis text line, complementing strengthening my resume with a medical assistant certification, which has been helping me gain a lot more experience dealing with crisis situations and and a deeper understanding of patient care. If all goes well, like I said, I'll be starting grad school.
And you will. So, as a reminder, we are part of the organization that supports, Latinas. So, if you need any support letter or reference recommendations, feel free to lean on the hermanas for that. We're here to support. So, thank you for sharing that. So, what motivates you? We touch on the fact that you're a avid soccer player, and I know you still kick the ball around. But what'll motivate you?
What motivates me? I think a big part of it comes from being the oldest sibling. From a young age, I felt a strong sense of responsibility, not just for myself, but for my family. My mom has been my biggest inspiration. She's incredibly strong and resilient. You might not know this because we don't really communicate our emotions. So, yeah, if she listens to this, it's something new
She
that she'll
will.
be hearing.
She
She'll
will.
be
She'll
hearing
learn.
from me. And she has sacrificed so much for me and my little brother. And just so we could have the opportunities that we wouldn't have in our home country. Watching her work and keep going no matter what, no matter the situation, that taught me perseverance. I was there while she was going through all of that. Even though I was little, I was still understanding what was happening. And above all, she always put us first. And like I want to give back to her because of that.
I know you shared with me that one of your goals is to build your career so eventually your mom doesn't have to work and give her the
Yeah.
opportunity to go back to the DR and live comfortable, without having to worry about because she sacrificed so much. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, like knowing how much she has given me, and like I don't want any of her sacrifices to go to waste. That's a huge motivator for me. It pushes me to keep going and to keep striving and to make the most of the opportunities I've been given. And yeah, that's my long term goal is to be able to provide enough so she doesn't have to work anymore and retire to her home country and be happy over there and not in this cold. So I just want her for that. I,
I
I
love
want her
that.
to have that.
It's a great visual. Happen, no doubt. So you talked about starting your master's program in August. What else is next for you?
That's my priority right now. Just I don't I'm truly honest with you. After grad school, I haven't been able to envision my future. I will see what life brings me. We'll go with
Right.
the flow.
So what? It's okay. So let's focus just on next year. So we have starting August. So I know that you're an explorer. She's actually call her my little Dora the Explorer. She loves hiking, which I love the fact she does that. I can literally go hiking with her. But for fun, what do you have planned? Anything you have in mind for 2026?
Oh,
Fun
yes.
wise, tell me.
Yes, I almost forgot. The same people who invited me to Guatemala, they have invited me to the same mission in Ghana. So I'm very, very excited for that. It's also like a service learning experience, volunteering in a hospital in Guatemala, in Ghana,
Oh,
and that's happening next summer.
oh,
Getaway.
that's beautiful. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Well, I can't wait to hear that and your journey experience. And I want to say that 2026 is part of my wish list is getting to spend some personal time with you. So whether either I go back east or we go to DR or you come to California, you have a room here. You have a home here in California. And if you can bring me some Dominican food. They got me introduced. I forgot to mention, so I just want to make sure I actually capture this. The experience that I had with their incredible family, and they introduced me to Dominican food. But recently, actually this year, she actually came for my birthday in July. It was my very first favorite birthday because the best gift someone can give you is their time, and she was here celebrate my birthday, and I had the most fun. We shared, we did so much, and I still have memories of the videos that I play from time to time to keep me laughing because I love her energy, and she's so loving. And but also in May I went to Pennsylvania because we had a graduation. My other daughter, not daughter, but she graduated from the university, and I had to spend time with both of them. So I was really honored that she made time for me. And then I feel really bad because I didn't know the airport was that far out. There's not a direct flight to Pennsylvania. So I had to fly to New York. And she picked me up. I didn't know it was like 2 hour drive. And she went to pick me up. It was late at night. And I hadn't eaten. because I was traveling all day and I was like, "Okay, I'll go through a drive-through." She's like, "No, mommy, they made you food. The family's waiting for you at home." And I'm like, "What do you mean it's late?" He's like, "Yo, they wait for you. They have you. They made some food for you." And her mom, her aunt friend were waiting up for me, and they had this delicious Dominican feast set up for me. And now they got me hooked. So we were up all night that night. Leolis went to sleep because we had the graduation early in the morning, and but I stayed till 3 in the morning, just catching up with the aunt. They got to, and it was really sweet to know because I was telling them it was nice meeting you. It's like, oh, we already know you. Leolis talks about you all the time, and they have seen a video of me because for her graduation, college graduation, I wasn't able to, unfortunately, attend, but her sweet mom reached out to me and she wanted me to be part of her graduation party. And she asked me if I could do a video for her because they were doing a graduation party. And it was hard for me because I got emotional. She cries a lot. I get emotional because she's also my baby. I am so proud of her, and I just wanted her to know that, I wasn't there physically, but I was there in spirit, so I was able to share my message with her, crying, but that was me being me. And so the family has seen it, so it felt really nice that her aunt was like, and her mom was like, "We already know you. The whole family knows you." So whoever was there got to see me crying on that video, saying how much I'm proud of her. And it was great that I'm walking in. Now I have additional family, Dominican families that I have because of, these incredible girls. So we were up all night talking and to share the stories, and it was really, really sweet to be part of that. And so those are great memories that you come across, and now I get to connect with them, and I feel like I have a home in their hometown and in Dominican Republic because of that. Like, yeah, whenever we come, like, okay, well, I have family there now. So it's super fun. Thank you. And it's been beyond grateful that I get a chance to share your story, your family, and I'm looking forward to create more memories in person. So I'm looking forward to that's part of my wish list. One last question. So if you have some Leolis wisdom to share with others, not just some your age, but others, what kind of wisdom would you share with them?
One piece of wisdom I would love to share comes from a book that I keep rereading and revisiting. It's called The Power of Now. I read it, like, I keep rereading it more than once because it really, I absorb something new each time I read it. Maybe I wasn't ready to absorb it the first time. The lesson in particular that stuck with me talks about how life is a bunch of hills, like, up and down. And you have to go down sometimes before you go up again. And it's similar to the saying, like, this too shall pass. Like, hard times are necessary so that you can grow and appreciate the better times that follow. And I live by that. I live by, okay, I'm having a hard time right now, but I know that it's not going to be forever. And later on, I'm going to look back and appreciate the good times that are coming.
Absolutely. That's a great message. And I want to second to that. One of the things that I want people to understand that don't know us, because she's also part of my really close circle and she's a family member, I always tell them I want to lead by example. So I don't always just share with them the great things that are happening. I also share with them even the not so great things that are happening because I want them to learn. She talks about life of ups and downs. We go through lives and ups and downs. I'm going through what I believe is one of my down moments in my life cycles. And because I'm a woman of faith, I always know that God kind of puts me through this process every 4 years, kind of to keep me on my toes a little bit and say, let me see what I can teach her. And then more importantly, what can others learn around her.
Huh.
And I was having a separate conversation with my son because he's like, you let her know what's going on with you? I'm like, yeah, she's another child of mine, just like I tell you guys. And the reason I do this is because to kind of show you that life is going to give you those bumps in the road. And like you said, you learn through the tough times. You go through the lessons. So we have to stop back and say, okay, why is this happening to me? What kind of lesson am I supposed to learn? Right? What am I getting out of this? And there's other lessons and because I have a couple more years of you ahead, right? So I've been through this recycling process a few times. And yes, it's tough and it's humbling, it's painful. I get all that at once. And I have to step back and I have my conversations with God. I'm like, okay, what am I supposed to learn? Where are you taking me? And I share that with you because just like I was humble to share with you when I share that text and I say, hey, this is happening to me right now. And I could play it off like nothing's happening, but what am I teaching you? My job as your adoptive mother is to say, hey, we're all gonna go through that, but I want you to know that I'm still here. No matter what I'm going through, I'm still here. So when those cycles happen to you, you know you can reach out to me. You don't have to go turn into a turtle and hide into your little cocoon and pretend everything's okay. And it's okay if not is okay. And it's okay that we're not okay. I want you to know that I'm still here for the good, the bad, and the ugly. And just as I'm going through my ugly, tough time right now, and I am looking at it as God got me, you also know that just like you got the text when I say, hey, I'm going through this right now, you're going to get a text from me and maybe a bottle of wine shipped to you and say, hey, we're toasting. Things have turned around. God is rewarding me with this. But that's the lessons that I want to share with all my kids and anybody that is paying attention because life is about that. Right? Life is going to be rewarding and there are going to be tough lessons that we're going to learn. And that's the message I want to teach everyone that comes across, especially my kids. And so I'm sharing this with you because there's one thing that kind of hurt my heart when I found out that you were afraid of sharing your new journey with the Army because you were afraid to disappoint me. And I was like, oh my God, I suck. Why? Maybe I didn't come across like for you to know that no matter what you do, like I'm still here. Like there's nothing you're gonna do for me to be like, I'm leaving. No. And I never want you to be in a position where you're like, I can't, I'm afraid to tell her. I'm afraid that I'm gonna disappoint. You're not gonna disappoint me. Everything you're doing is I'm so proud of you and may not agree with some of the decisions. I'm gonna guide you and walk you through and I'm gonna tell you like I tell my kids. And you can reach out to any of the two that I have here, my biological kids. I always tell them, I'm going to allow you to make the mistakes that's your mistakes and those are your learning process. The exception to that, if I see you going across, the embedment or you're about to make I'm going to grab you by the hair and say, no, let me put you this way. That's my protective mode. But I can't keep my kids in a bubble. I need to allow you guys to make that mistake. I'm going to give you my sound advice, right? But I'm always going to be here. And there's nothing you can do to disappoint me. So I just want you to know that. And I'm going to keep sharing my stumbles as well. So you know that we're going to go through this. But part of it is we're going to go through this together. Okay? So I just want you to know that. And you're going to continue to hear from me. I'm beyond proud of you, the young lady that you are right now and the young woman that you're becoming. And I'm just so grateful I have front row seats to this journey with you. And I'm looking forward to enjoy every process in your life. So with that, I want to thank you for taking the time to meet with me today and be part of the Inner Niña journey and my family. So thank you for your time. And until next time, thank you so much. I love you. Besos. Te adoro.
That to you, Mami Maria. I feel so honored to have you in my life.
My honor's mine.
Thank you for inviting me and allowing me to share everything.
And we're going to have more. You know that, right? We're going to have plenty of more because she's entertaining and she has more to share with us. So we're going to have more episodes with Leolis. So until next time, this is Inner Niña and its journey.
Besitos.
Love you. Bye.
Thank you for listening. Thank you for holding space for me. And thank you for allowing me to walk beside you as you heal your inner niña. Until next time, please don't forget to follow and subscribe.